Okay, so Leah's also hiding her beard. Or
Yes, I'm hiding my beard.
excellent. Yes. Okay. So last where we left off, you were in the attic. You finally discovered the room in which the children were in, and you found them there, dead. Or well, not quite completely dead anyway. And now that you've decided to take your rest here, Saban, you're actually interacting with her, and you come to see more of how she is. And while she was, of course, very intrigued and happy to actually show you all of this, you also get a very sense that she is happy that to have any interaction at this point. She is also very curious and keeps asking you questions such as what things look like outside, who you are exactly, what you've done in the past, and other curious questions.
Yeah, I try to tell him PG stories.
She listens quite curiously, seeming to enjoy this bit of normality that she has here.
Mm.
And you carry on like that until eventually you also grow a bit tired and take a rest, and Septimus wants to talk with the girl.
When Septimus sees that Saban is getting kind of tired and he feels fully rested up, he's gonna go over there and basically take his place in, talking to Rose and playing with her toys and whatnot.
You,
And he's just gonna let her talk basically.
right?
She seems
Um,
like she has a lot to say.
well, she doesn't really seem all that much interested to talk about talking about her own situation or life. Rather, she seems much more intrigued about you, as she does a very similar thing, asking about who you are, where you come from, what you've done so far in the past, and
Septimus is gonna tell her the truth. He's gonna say that he was born in the town, where what year he was born in. Um, Basically tell her that he spent his whole life there and that he is now a guard, which is what he always wanted to do.
she looks somewhat impressed as you mentioned that you are a guard and asks you what it is like.
It's a lot of hard work. You you get to protect people though, and that's what I wanted. But sometimes it can be troubling because people sometimes don't realize that we're there to help.
She she keeps on digging like why is it difficult, why would people not realize that you are wanting to help?
Didn't she just?
I guess it's because in a way we are figures of authority and a lot of people have a problem with authority. And he's gonna let his eyes dart towards Saban. Just for a second, but
She will also ask you about some stories that you have experienced during your life and doing the police work.
again, he's gonna tell her the PG stuff like the cat that he once got down from a tree and, you know, the things he thinks he.
Oh no, the connection.
Okay, everyone froze for a moment.
Yeah, for me too. So we're all on the same page again, it seems. Oh dear.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
what were you last saying?
I was basically saying he would tell her the story of, the cat that he got down from the tree, or um, basically PG stories with, a little bit of action, but not too rough.
I'll
This
be
was probably
honest.
too a lot of rough.
If you actually keep telling her about rescue pets, she will grow a little bit bored and ask if if you've done anything more interesting, like I don't know, chase down some really bad people or anything like that.
Like Saban did tell those, he just left out the parts where he was
Yeah,
pumped.
but yeah, it overall seems like she is very much enjoying the time spent. And while initially she seemed quite distant to you and suspicious of you, at this point she seems to have grown more open to you as well.
Nice.
So time goes on, and now that you're fully rested, what do you do?
Well, I'll probably take a look at, gonna prepare up my pipe, smoke it, take a look what Rose up to and the rest of the people.
What are the others up to? Now that you're fully rested.
Seven's is gonna check his armor, check his shield, make sure that his sword is sharp, and pretty much make himself ready to go.
Rika's just gonna make sure she has everything she needs to cast her spells. You know,
Alright.
it's pretty important.
Now, it's kind of hard to really know how long you've stayed in this room, especially because the window is completely, well, shut with bricks and all. But you feel like you've been here for quite a while, and, Saban, since you specifically looked at it, it looks like Rose is feeling a bit fidgety. She just stands awkwardly off to the side, watching you as she doesn't really seem to know what to do.
Well, once Saban has packed up the pipe, lighted it up, he's ask Rose, something on your mind?
You ask Rose.
Yeah.
Well, I was just wondering, what are you going to do now? You're going into the basement, aren't you?
Seems like that's... seems to be the only option we have.
Could I come with you?
You said it was dangerous.
Well, yeah, but mostly for you, I believe.
Well, if you promise to behave nice and stay out of harm's way.
So I can come with you?
If you really want to. When I played with her, did she play or move the toys around at all?
Yes, a little. She seems to be able to move physical objects, if that is what you're looking for.
Like, how much did she seem able to do with those?
Just as much as any other child would do. It didn't appear like she had trouble moving them in any way. It just seemed normal amount. But as you have asked her to, well, you've said that it would be fine to come with you. She happily walks up to you and reaches out to you. And reaches into your chest. And you feel how she's trying to get inside. You feel how a second soul is trying to enter your body.
For a while, Saban just tenses up, like, completely. Very uncertain as to what to do.
Well, you've got a choice here. Resist or do not resist.
Say he resists, like, it's a reflex resistance.
Alright.
but then
In-
he eases up.
All right. So while you resist at first and you try to block it, eventually, as you realize that she's just trying to enter, not even do anything with malinition, it's just another soul trying to reach out to your already existing soul. It's an incredible feeling that is very hard to describe, but it feels like somebody is trying to hug your soul.
Hmm.
But after
Put out the pipe. Take a look at
but after
top of the-
after your initial resisting, the ghost of Rose enters your chest, and for a moment you yourself find yourself flung away. You no longer feel any control over your own body. You no longer see yourself. It is like you're sitting in a back seat, only seeing your own movements, but it is not you who actually moves.
I would try calling out.
You try to speak, but nothing really happens. And after a moment, you find yourself back in control, switching with the other soul that previously seemed to have control of your body.
Yeah. I say under my breath. Sure, that might be nice and all, but if it comes to a fight, let the more experienced one do it, okay?
Of course. I wouldn't do any such thing.
Alright.
And you two also witnessed this of the ghost literally just entering his chest. And also, now that she is inside of you, weird, you do know, you are the only one who can hear her voice. You no longer can hear anything, and for that specific interaction, it seemed like he just is speaking to himself.
Alright, Saban. There's some very important research we have to do now, obviously. Alright? You gotta tell me how, you gotta describe how it feels, right?
Pretty warm, honestly.
It's not an uncomfortable feeling, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Alright. Come on, you gotta give me something more than just that.
Well, seems like I can just kind of lean back and watch myself.
Well, is that all? How is Septimus taking this whole situation? Leah, can you hear us?
You all glitched out for me for a moment.
Yeah.
Are you guys back?
Yeah, it was similar for us as well. Can you hear us now? Okay.
Yeah.
So, how does Septimus feel about this whole happening?
Septimus was very weirded out from watching that happen, but he didn't do anything. And at the time being, he's still unnerved, but he's standing close to the door while Rika and Septimus are talking, and it doesn't change the fact that he's ready to go down in the basement. But this is unnerving.
Very well. As you open the door outside, you see a skeleton. Having its back turned to you, however. It seems to not even react to you opening the door, and seems to be just staring right in front of itself.
Rose? Is this one of yours?
Rose answers, but the only one who can hear that is Saban. And she confirms that this is in fact one of her skeletons, which she put out there to stay on guard.
And Saban just nods. Yep.
Can I tell by the clothes who this was?
No, it's a blank skeleton. No clothes. Not even weapons, this one. At this moment, something pops into your heads. Where is the basement?
Yeah, that is something that we were.
So, okay, you went to the room. Let's go to the basement. You walk outside and go,
I was gonna ask that to Rose, but I'm kind of
Well,
like,
now you can
how
freely
do I
ask.
ask things from myself?
so without seeming like a crazy person to everyone around. It is not too hard. You can just try and think it very hard, and so you can in that way communicate with Rose.
So I can
Yeah.
basically I tried out like thinking like, also you can hear this.
It
Like,
depends.
just think.
It depends. If you're just thinking it, then no.
Like I tried thinking it in a way to make her.
Yes.
No.
In that case, yes. In which case, yes, I can hear you. This is really weird because you're not completely sure where the boundary is of what she can hear and what she can't hear. So if you feel like you will need a little bit more time to really adapt to this whole thing, to know exactly where the border is and how to do it on command, but there seems to be a way of doing it.
Yep, I try to think about where is the basement.
She answers me, oh yeah, it's right over to your right. That first door, there's a secret room on the right wall. And she's leading you back to the mannequin room.
I ask in my head, should we leave this up here or take it with us?
Sorry, what were you asking?
I try thinking really loudly in my head. Should we leave the skeleton here or take it with us?
Oh, I think we should just probably leave it there. They are not really very good, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, I assume you're following her directions, and you end up back in the mannequin room, which, the first time you entered it, it looked quite odd and creepy. However, this time around, it looks like a hurricane went off here. Like, the mannequins are on the ground, some of them have a hole in their head, some of the sheets are just on the... It's a mess, like a hurricane went in through here. Some of you don't even quite remember why it happened like that. You were just really busy with the chest or something. But you remember maybe...
Hurricane Rika happened.
Yes, exactly. You remember something vaguely like that happened here.
Every single one.
Yes. All of the mannequins are as you left them. Or are they? I mean, you're certain they must be. Anyway.
Daniel, you gotta be careful. I have infinite firebolts, and I'm not afraid to use them.
Sure. Over in the corner, you still see a few burnt as mannequins as well from previous attempts. Anyway, so you go to the spot that Rose describes in Saban's head, or rather, well, Saban does. You're just merely following. And in fact, at that wall, there seems to be little holes in the wall that seem to be just the right size for a hand to put inside.
What size hand?
A normal size hand. Like an adult
Saban
person.
reaches in.
You reach in and you feel immediately what side it was meant to be pushed. As it ergonomically wraps around your hand, you push the wall to the side, and behind it reveals itself a secret passageway. Or rather, well, a secret staircase that goes downwards in a spiral.
Hmm. Well, they hit this thing very well.
Just to remember, which of you was carrying a torch?
It was Bass's character. Plus the long rest, I think it's out by now.
Probably.
Yeah. Like Rilana was the one who had it.
Well, anyway,
Do we need to light another torch?
I have dark vision.
I don't.
Yeah, we're just measly humans.
Oh, for you.
Yeah.
for I am a superior half-elf.
Yes, actually.
Alright, I'm gonna light a torch.
Alright.
It's a good thing because I don't have any torches. They're on my mule. I only took one going inside.
The moment you think that, Rose goes, oh god, I hope the mule is alright.
I think back likewise.
So, now with a torch in hand, you can descend the stairs. Tell me, in which order are you going?
If I'm
Well,
gonna
one of the
do-
Saban
front
is first.
go first.
So, did you all three just now say in unison, I go first?
No, I say one of the frontliners. meaning
Okay.
One of the melee
Yeah.
characters go
Mhm.
first.
I'm pretty sure Saban is the one.
Okay, so should Saban go first?
Okay, if he's gonna carry the torch.
Reasonable, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you figured it out. Saban is going first with a torch. Behind that we have Rika. And after that we have Septimus.
I don't want any surprises.
As you go down the stairs, you feel like you go for quite a long while. Slowly you feel like surely you must have passed the ground floor at this point. And you keep going and you keep going, and eventually you see the walls around you that previously were rock and brick slowly turning into, well, earth and some wooden structures holding everything in place. Suddenly you find yourself at the end of the staircase and you stand in a hallway of a somewhat earthy cave. And as you enter, you can hear what sounds like chants in the distance to your right. You're standing in this corridor and it goes into two directions. Aside from the direction that you came from, which was the stairs. To the right, which seems to lead into a big open room, or to the left, which leads around a corner.
Can you describe it one more time, please?
You now find yourself standing in a corridor that goes to the right and to the left. On your right, you have a big open room, and to the left, it seems to go around a corner.
And from the left is where the chanting is coming.
No, the chanting is coming from the right.
Okay.
Although, the more you listen to it, it's kind of hard to tell. It seems to be predominantly coming from the right, but maybe also a little bit from the left.
Though mostly everyone would be gone by now, besides the monster itself.
What if they are the monster?
I mean, it doesn't sound like the noises we heard.
Doesn't sound like the monster the kids heard. You ever heard this noise?
No.
She hasn't even heard this noise before.
Can I make out what the chanting is saying?
For that, I will need a roll. Now, what makes sense for this? What are you trying exactly to figure out here? The exact words or its meaning?
Basically, yeah, the words. What are they saying? What language is this?
Okay, so you're strictly trying to figure out what languages is what words. Okay. For that, I will need a straight up perception check if you can make out any words. It is quite faint.
I don't think that I can.
I'll also try, because I have many languages I can speak.
No matter how much both of you try, it is just far too faint. What you can hear, it is like hearing murmurs, but you can't make out exact words. But you can hear it being chanted over and over in a rhythmic fashion.
What were the walls were made of dirt?
Yes, it seems to have been dug or maybe even mined.
Don't think most noise-carrying substance, but we'll go closer to the wall to try and hear.
You're doing what?
Like going close to the wall to hear it. So when the voice carries over, it technically there's a barrier that it stops against.
Well, hearing it was never really a problem. When you hear through it,
Making out.
yeah, when you hear through it, you can still hear it. In fact, even a little bit louder, but it's as if damped a bit through the way through the wall, and it does not help you in hearing the exact words.
Yeah, so no roll at all.
No. So, you find yourself at this intersection. Right or left?
I think it's best we don't walk.
Sorry?
Bless you. I think it's best we don't walk straight into. Sorry, I can just picture Rika sneezing.
It's her allergy. Whenever something occult is happening, immediately her sixth sense goes on and she sneezes.
No, it's
She
just very
sneezes.
dusty.
And instantly.
Fair enough, that
chanting
is also true.
stops. Chanting stops. Footsteps are heard. Roll it.
And yet Dusty is one of the favorite characters.
Okay. Septimus is gonna whisper to the others that I think he thinks it's best they don't walk straight into where the chants are going, and it's best to go the other direction for starters. There's only.
Not sure how much of an occult Natsuban is, so I'm not sure if that would be something he'd think of, but maybe the chanting empowers the monster.
Well, we haven't met the monster yet,
Yeah.
technically. So, maybe taking a look around would be a good idea.
I mean, like this is the first moment where you choose like right or left. If each one of these decisions takes that long, I very badly misjudged how long this is gonna take.
Yeah, you should have, like, when there's many choices where it's just 50-50. That's...
So everyone who
Perhaps
wants to go left, raise your hand.
The the chanting is coming from the right.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm indifferent, I'm not gonna raise
What about Rose?
Well, Rose's opinion.
Yes.
She gets a vote.
She isn't certain. She thinks perhaps one should first investigate the thing that is not the chanting, since that seems a bit maybe.
So 3 for left. 0
Well,
for right.
if Saban shares that vote, it's a whole other thing entirely. Saban is free to go. Oh, actually, Rose also says we should go right.
Yeah. No, it's just that
Well,
Saban
Saban's
doesn't really
indifferent.
think about the right either. Well, she's like, yeah, that's fine.
So it's left.
Okay,
Are there
so
any like candles or torches on the walls down here?
actually, now that you mention it, I forgot to actually mention that. So good point. Yes, there are, and they are lit.
I passed the torch to Rika, saying that I would rather have both my hands free.
So and just you say I can cast all of my spells with one hand.
I mean, technically,
I mean,
by
I
the
can, but
rules.
Some of them at least.
I can,
Like,
yeah.
I have seen you cast stuff. You threw a firebolt at me with one hand. It's reflex.
Yeah, I can cast that spells with one hand.
Yeah.
But that means I can't scratch myself on my back with the other while doing so. So,
You can scratch yourself with the torch. It's just gonna tickle after that.
you go to the left, and you turn the corner. Eventually, you find yourself in a room. In the middle of that room, you find a big wooden table with 4 chairs all around it. And there's some little chambers to the side of each room with doors, some that remain open. Inside, you see beds and little chests.
Is there anything on the table?
Yes. On the table, there's a deck of cards, and, well, the cards are also laid out in front of them. Some are lying on the floor. And something I also forgot to mention is, there's also skeletons here. On the floor. It looks like they used to play cards, but then they were, well, interrupted.
Is it just normal playing cards?
It seems to be just your normal playing cards.
Alright, I'll collect all of them.
These skeletons, however, unlike the other skeletons from before, seem to actually wear clothes.
Just gonna go in my mind, not yours.
How many decks of cards are there?
Sorry?
Decks of cards. How many decks?
There's one deck of cards.
Okay.
And to completely fill it, you will have to actually look for every single card that was fallen to the ground or somewhere on the table. You're not completely sure if you manage to actually find all of them. But you end up with a probably mostly complete deck of cards.
Excuse me?
Fine, fine, you find all of them, but you haven't checked yet. The skeletons are wearing black robes. Simple black robes.
Okay, so simple. So none of them are more decorated than others.
Nope, they all seem to be very similarly bland.
Anything under the robes? Like
Yes,
security
yes,
nets?
yes. Bones.
So they were only wearing the robes.
Yeah, and now that you think about that,
It's a little weird. It's a little weird.
Yeah, to be fair, this starting to seem like it's just the parents' weekend hobby, and that's why the kids were locked up in the room. Maybe they thought
Oh,
it was a safe
Jesus
word.
as you say that, you remember that one of those kids is still present.
That's why I'm saying it out of character.
Anyway, so anything else? Also, aside from the different different side rooms in this room, which lead to beds and locker rooms, there's also a path that leads to another room.
Alright, so there's 2 chambers and the path that leads to... Alright, I mean, I guess we're gonna check the chambers first.
All right, so you look through the different chambers. To be honest, most of the lockers are empty. You find nothing of value inside, and the beds look rather cheap. Just as cheap as the servants' ones.
Hmm. You've seen robes like these?
Black
Yes.
robes. Like, wait, so
It's a young kid. I'm not sure if they have.
you're
one.
asking us or Rose?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
starting.
saying it out loud.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, black robes. Oh yeah, those are really rare with.
I mean, I've seen black robes before, here and there, especially in the closet.
Did you get visitors in black robes? I still talk out loud. It's just basically to have half the conversation at least. carried
No,
on.
not really.
No, so no.
Though we did have a lot of black robes. Now I think about it.
Alright, so nothing in the lockers.
No, all of them are empty. Every single one. You can't believe it. You think at least one of them would leave something behind.
Alright, I guess
So
we're going. We're going
Well, that
further.
does remind. Were they playing cards for no bets?
It looks that way. Well, either that or
Someone stole it.
Or then it was a Russian roulette type of poker game.
you do recall that you weren't exactly the first people to enter the basement.
God dang it.
But you were the first to go. Oh, that's a deck of cards. I should take that. That's valuable.
You never
Yeah.
know.
Rika, a hoarder.
No, Rika's suspicious of everything.
So let's touch it.
Yeah. Let's stash it, look at it afterwards.
Alright.
Could be occult cards. Who knows? Anyway, so what's next?
I mean, there's the next room.
Yes, so you walk into the next room. You find yourself in a much larger room. In the middle of it, well, first of all, everywhere in this room, there's wooden pillars that seem to be, keeping this room from collapsing. You've seen them before, but, in here they are more plentiful since, well, the scale of the room is much larger. In the middle of the room, there's a well. And to the side of this room as well is multiple smaller chambers. And of course, again, a way that goes somewhere else. So you find yourself in this room. In front of you, a well, a pathway to somewhere else you don't quite know, and different little rooms everywhere around.
Let's check the rooms.
Well, similarly as the other rooms, these rooms too have...
Someone will have an eye on the well.
Alright, you're looking into the well.
No, just keeping an eye on it.
Okay. It's a well. It doesn't seem to have any pulling mechanism on it or anything as like. It's just... In fact, it seems more like just... Well... You're not quite sure if it even is functionally a well. But it looks like one, except without the pulley system and everything.
Yeah, that's just like I was expecting. Maybe they just were lucky enough to have a source of water under their house, so they were like, "Yes, let's use it." I'm not so sure. So yeah, I'm not gonna look into the well.
Anyway, you are looking through the different rooms. What about Septimus?
Is there anything that's... So basically it's just rooms, filth, and... Are there beds? Are there any signs of life there?
Yes, that's what I said. In the other, there's little side rooms attached to this one. Each and every single one seems to have inside a bed and another locker of sorts. I must say, you and Ulrika and investigating this together. And immediately what stands out to you is that these beds look a lot more comfortable than the ones you've seen in the previous room. Unlike the other ones, they're not made out of hay, they're actually very comfy beds. And, yes.
So is there anything interesting in the rooms?
There's a locker and a bed.
Anything in the locker?
God damn it, okay. Yeah, absolutely. You're in the first room, and in the first room, there's a pouch, a leather pouch.
Alright, I'm gonna grab the pouch and carefully open it.
In it, you find 17 gold. Though the pouch itself seems a little odd. Doesn't look like any other pouch you've seen before.
Can I roll an Arcana check to see too? No. So it seems odd.
Just... It's just something about the texture and when you're holding it, an odd feeling, but...
Oh, it's fucking human leather, isn't it?
Do you have experience with that? You know what? It makes sense.
I have played
Yes,
Rimworld.
yes.
I have played-
Rika has seen previously human leather pouches, or just human leather in general, and immediately you recognize that's human leather. Yes.
I'm a point. Listen. Rika's a former researcher working with ancient things.
Yeah.
Human leather, humanoid leather, isn't all that uncommon in occultism.
I mean, yeah, specifically because of that, you immediately get it. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that sounds like something they do.
So Septimus gets 5 gold, Saban gets 5 gold, and Rika gets 6. Wait, how much gold was there in it?
17.
Okay, Septimus gets 6 gold also.
Oh.
Gee, discrimination. I'll just say because of
It's
that.
like they remember that I flipped off 2 years ago.
I'll just say because of how that is going, that while you're looking at the chest in the first room, Septimus is looking at the chest of the second room.
Okay.
And in it, you find... Well, you find 3 more ropes. But other than the ones you've seen before, these ones seem to be in prime condition.
I'm gonna throw the ropes over my shoulder and keep them.
Alright.
These might come in handy.
All 3 of them?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. You now have 3 black ropes.
How tall
Another,
are they?
another thing, before I forget it. These ropes do not look exactly like the ropes you've seen before. They seem a little bit more fancy. Around them there's a bit of a pattern. And on the chest there's a symbol. And it looks like a maw. A maw
maw?
of teeth.
Oh,
What do the teeth look like? Are they human? Are they beast-like?
Well, they are beast-like.
are the canines longer and sharper?
Kinda. I mean, I see where you're going there, and yeah, it could be wolf. It could be like wolf or something like that. No real way of knowing for certain, but
Right.
If I'm shown those ropes, would they ever match anything I've ever seen or heard stories about?
not really. It's just very general. Any stories you might have heard may even just be coincidences.
Yeah. Just a generic more. Goddamn.
There is 3 more rooms.
Next room, next room.
Right. Let the loot train continue. In the next room, you find an eye patch with a symbol engraved on it.
Is it human leather?
No, it's not. It's an eye patch. It's made.
Did Rika tell us that the pouch she found the money in was human leather?
Did she?
No, she's never said anything about the pouch. She just gave the gold.
Okay, so Septimus is just searching and suddenly he gets tapped on the shoulder and here's money.
Here's some gold. I found it.
No, fair enough. Sharing is caring. But yeah, you find an eye patch with an insignia on the eye patch itself. It seems to
What's
be.
it made out of?
What eye patches are made out of?
Eye patches can be made of a lot of things. Leather?
Okay, yes, leather. Let's go with that.
So
But not human leather in this
okay,
case.
Okay.
Ordinary leather.
Okay. From cows.
Or pigs. Or lambs.
Or alligators. Anyway, and on it is a symbol of a serpent's head.
That goes in the bag?
Skin bag.
No. In my, cloth bag that I carry around with me to carry all my shit.
Septimus, do you want to take the next one while Saban is keeping a watch on that well?
Okay.
Well, in here you find... Well, actually, you just find...
Third room, right?
Sorry?
The third room, right?
The fourth one at this
Oh,
point.
okay.
In this room, you find some... Just some fancy utilitarian items. An ivory hairbrush and some silver bristles.
Pure silver?
Seems that way. Might be valuable. And last, room number 5. In it, you find a short sword.
Is there any special about it?
Well, as you also go there to now investigate both of you, but there... I mean, if you try to figure out, both of you can roll a wisdom or assist each other one.
Who has the higher wisdom?
Let's check.
I have
I
+2.
have... Okay, then I'm gonna assist you.
Alright. So it's just a general wisdom check?
Yes, just a general wisdom check.
I click the one above the number, right?
I mean, if you're
roll
assisting
to
me,
assist.
you're giving me advantage.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
can also just roll separately. And then
Yeah, I mean, if you're helping her, you don't have to do anything. She'll do it with advantage, and she gets a second roll because you're helping.
Alright.
Well, yeah, sure. Okay, so with the help, with your two heads together, you can figure it out quite quickly. It's not even too hard to notice. Well, at first, it might have been a little bit hard to spot because of all the dust and dirt. As you put some of it away, you notice that the blade is made out of silver.
So, Septimus, who pockets this?
Sorry?
Who pockets it?
Septimus checks his sword, checks the other sword.
Silver is a very malleable material, probably very good for a sword.
He's gonna look. Where is Saban, by the way?
He's outside looking at that well.
Saban has basically rotated with the group outside the room, but keeping his eye on the well.
Okay. Honestly, Septimus trusts Rika's judgment. If she would rather keep it, then he'll be fine with it. Or if she wants to keep it to Saban. But he doesn't hide the fact that it is a fine weapon and he would like it.
Okay, so then she's giving it to Septimus. I mean, she was asking whether he wanted she could take it.
Thank you.
That was the last of these rooms. And now the way forward goes to branching paths. And as you find yourself at the branching path, ahead of you, you see another pathway that turns around the corner. The same goes for your right, but now that you're standing there, you can definitely tell where the chanting is coming from. It's coming from your right.
So go to the chanting or go away from the chanting?
Well, since we can now hear the chanting that clearly, can we make out what it is chanting?
Not even now. It's... You really can't put your finger in it. It's almost as if it's not even words at all.
So it's not abysmal or deep speech
No,
or undercommon?
none of these.
Eh.
So, this will be the second part of our 3-part series of Left or Right. Spin the wheel.
Rattle my bones! Mr. Bones Wild Ride.
I know Chocola has seen. I'm not sure if either one of you has seen, but like the chanting, just in my head, I just have the fucking scene from the ritual playing.
I can hear ooga chugga, I can't stop this feeling
Not really.
deep inside.
It's more
of
something
me.
that you can't even make the words out. You're not even sure if they themselves sound human.
Anyone want to see what's on the left before we go to the right?
It's more of a straight or right scenario, but...
Oh, straight or
I
right?
mean,
Oh.
yeah.
Who wants to go straight? Who's straight?
No one speaks.
All right.
Straight is good.
Alright. So you head forward, round the corner, and now you now found yourself in a big room. In the middle of it, a long wooden table with benches all around. It seems to be a dining room. And yes, you see some remains of bones and rotten food. But other than that, there doesn't seem to be much of interest here. You also see some skeletons all around the floor. Some in parts. And now that you're standing here, there's actually 2 exits. One is leading to the left, and you recognize the room that you've seen before at the very beginning. It seems you've gone in a circle. And to your right, well, is another path that goes around the corner.
Is the chanting coming from that path?
No, the chanting is coming mostly from behind you,
All right.
but maybe also a little bit to your right. Which gives you the impression that it seems to be revolving, and every path sort of leads to it.
I mean, so far we've been avoiding the chanting, so let's just keep doing it. Let's go towards the place that has the least chanting.
Which is the place you saw at the beginning. Everyone on board with that?
Wait, wasn't there a path to the... There was a path to the left.
Mm-hmm. And a path to the right, which led to a big open room.
Oh,
You now see that same
I mean, okay,
room.
fine, let's go to the chanting. We've finished.
Somebody tell me what the party is doing.
Okay, so there's the dining room, right?
We wanna put on the robes.
Yeah.
You're in the dining room
Let's
right now.
Start handing out robes.
All right.
All right.
How many paths out of the dining room are there?
There's 2, not actually counting the one that you took to enter here.
Okay.
One goes back to that big room you saw at the very beginning when you decided not to go there. And the other goes around the corner.
So we could either do it like on video game and just check the one we haven't.
Let's not go to the quest important thing. First, we need to check out everything else.
Yeah, there might be loot or a potion.
We are
Can't find a silver sword.
You are also investigators, so perhaps it is smart to first find all the information you can.
So there.
Oh, before I forget it, actually, there's one more thing here in this room. One of the skeletons. No bullshit. What am I talking about? You know what? I can't rephrase that. I absolutely just straight up forgot to tell you about this item. So I'll just go backtrack and just pretend you found it back then. All right. Back when you were in room number 2, you also found a handout which I completely had forgotten about. So you know it was sort of also in the pouch, let's say, and it's only at this point that you realize, oh, there was a paper embedded within the pouch, like in a yeah. We'll go with that, all right?
Right.
Apologies.
It's fine.
Don't worry.
And you can see it right now. If somebody wants to read it aloud.
Who found it?
Well, the person who carries the sack. So that would be good old Rika.
I can read it or Rick can read it.
Well, you can all see it.
I mean, Mikael looks into the pouch, sees there's another paper. Hey, Saban, could you read this for me?
What's wrong with your eyes? Dearest Miss Durst, before I get into the reason as to why I'm writing to you, allow me to take this moment to state that I really have enjoyed my time here with you. The bloody rituals, the following feasts, drinking blood like the Dark Lord himself. It has all been a truly quaint experience. However, my husband is starting to have some concerns about it. And, well, I know it's most likely nothing, but I can't help but share those concerns. Why must we suddenly sacrifice members? Simply doesn't make sense. We are diminishing our numbers, and with each sacrifice, those of us who are left fear they may be next. I don't understand what was wrong with sacrificing the occasional orphan or servant, and what was that about the Messiah's message? I understand that this sort of information may only be available to the higher-ups, but still such symbol must be shared. I am sorry to say, but I fear the glory days of this organization may be over unless we return to our roots. Nevertheless, I am afraid my husband insists we leave. I will come tomorrow to return their occult daggers and cloaks. Of course, this changes nothing as for our plans, and you are still invited to join us on lunch on Wednesday in our mansion. Yours sincerely, Maggie Coliana. Yeah, so I read it before I read it out loud. I do ask, basically inside my mind, please, Rose, cover your ears.
She responds, I literally cannot do that.
Oh, right, I found this leather pouch. That letter, I found it in the pouch.
Have I heard the name Maggie Coliana before? Is she nobility?
Not really. Again, just the same as Strahd or Dorst, these names seem completely foreign to you.
Sure.
Oh. Speaking of Strahd, I will ask Rose if she's heard these names before.
What names specifically?
Has she ever heard the name Strahd von Zarovich and the name Maggie Coliana before?
She has... yeah, I have heard those names. Well, I'm not sure about Coliana. I think I remember a Coliana. Maybe not specifically a Maggie, though. I remember I used to play with a kid. I think they were called that. But anyway, with this Strahd, that's the Lord of Barovia.
Have I ever heard of a place called
Have I
Barovia?
ever heard of Barovia?
Mm.
Do I know anywhere that might have books on Barovia?
Yes, in Barovia.
Oh, of course.
Okay. anyone who wants to attempt it, roll me history checks, but I'll be honest, it will be quite hard.
Okay.
Well,
Like, even with
I'm
all
not-
your backgrounds in this, it will be extremely hard.
Well, I'll try my luck with possible bar gossip.
Alright.
You guys should go more the bars.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not
I mean,
so
I
much...
certainly should know where a book could be on it, but no, that's fine.
Well...
If there's even a book on it.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know what, I'll tell you just because you feel like if such book existed, it would probably be in perhaps another dimension or something like that.
So not existing, basically.
Well, it exists in a certain amount of sense. Like, anything can exist in certain... Anyway. Saban.
Yeah.
This is actually... This takes you way back, and you're not even completely sure. This was a long time before you ever even joined the guard in the first place. You recall that the man who taught you, he once mentioned such a place in passing.
What kind of a passing was it? Like, stay out of Barovia? Oh, I miss Barovia.
No, it was more of a... Well, yeah, he was simply saying that that place is not... Crap, what would he have said about it? He said that...
It's the nature if you don't think of the specifics. Like, is it something to be wary of or be amazed at or... be
Well,
curious
it
about?
seemed to be something that he had not exactly fond memories of.
It sounded like he had actually been there.
It did sound a little bit like that. Or if not, he seemed quite familiar with it.
I'm gonna ask Rose again. What does she
Van
know?
Helsing? Wrong... No, sorry. Go on.
No. Keep saying what you were saying.
No, I was just going to basically complain about that is the whole completely different universe. That's not even D&D. Get out of here. Sorry.
Okay. So Timus is gonna ask Rose, what is Barovia?
Well, it's where we live. She seems a bit confused by that.
The barn looks very confused right now. There's nobody...
You live in Sandren.
I mean, Saban didn't say that yet.
Sandrin, I have never heard of such a place before. Has, Is it possible that perhaps the place has changed its name over time?
Not that recently, no.
Zaban does not speak out this stuff.
Ah, okay. Well, stop
You
me
can read.
before.
You can read his facial impression. He goes,
Yeah, like he looks confused at first, and then he's like, "Gyo says this house is in Barovia, and I think my mentor had also been to Barovia at some point in his life."
Well, we're certainly not in Barovia. Do we know if the countryside has had any name changes? If there's any dukedoms that have been disassembled? Do we know any history books of this place?
none of you.
Far back.
I'm not even making you roll. None of you have ever heard of such a
Do I
place.
know where the history books are?
You do not know. You do not think any such thing could be mentioned in any actual history books. You do know of a place, a a place where there are a lot of occult libraries and occult history, but that one's always a little bit of hit and miss.
I looked towards Septimus and Riga, but mainly towards Septimus. Are you sure there was supposed to be the Dust Mansion? Was it supposed to be there?
What do you mean? You mean as far as city planning goes?
Yeah, had there been a mansion there? It is an old building.
Can I have any reason to believe that this house had no reason to be here?
It looked similar to all the other houses in design. What you did notice, though, was that it was much more well maintained than all the others. It did stick out.
Like if they were similarly maintained, there wouldn't be a difference.
If it hadn't been maintained, it would have looked quite similar to all the other houses in design and also architecture.
Can I, appraise some of the wood to see how old it might be?
Ooh, an interesting thought. What sort of skill would you use for that? Do you have any crafting tools that would fit the description?
I have no true proficiencies.
Well, in that case, I will make you roll intelligence for it.
Oh. Okay.
Well, it looks quite old. That's, yeah.
I don't think we really know the age of wood by doing wooden handles for stuff, so I'm not gonna even try with my tool proficiency. Like the biggest piece of wood I'd have would be an axe handle.
So, yes, right now you are still in the...
Yeah. Okay, it's pretty obvious that something occult is going on. I mean, after everything that's been arcane and occult so far, it would be weird if the house itself isn't occult. So, could I roll an arcana or something? Or some kind of knowledge to know if...
what are you trying to accomplish here? You want to know something about the house, or?
I mean, Rose says she lives in Barovia.
Mm-hmm.
Septimus knows for a fact that this house is part of Sungeon City.
All right. And you want to figure out if there was an arcane way in which this could both make sense.
Yeah,
Okay, roll me Arcana.
just trying to put things together, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Actually, you start suspecting that maybe none of this may be real. You start thinking, well, actually, maybe, this is, we don't know how old these ghosts are. Maybe this really was named Barovia just a really long time ago. Besides, maybe this whole hunt for a monster is also nonsense. I mean, it could just be that this monster was just the imagination of some children, and that chant you're hearing, well, could just be some recording or something. You're not so sure about the whole occult thing anymore.
I may not know the age of the wood, but the wood, does it seem to be native to this region?
Sorry, I'll just have to use the same roll for that one again, because it's a very similar question you're asking.
I could also roll nature.
Actually, that's a good idea. You sure?
No,
Yeah, do that. Do that. That makes much more sense.
Wait, there's no difference, but it's a different pack.
Well, it looks like wood. It looks like wood. It looks similar to all the other wood you've seen before. Oh, you know where you've seen that wood before. It's the same wood as the table, the wooden table.
And the other pillars.
Yeah.
It's also similar to the wood in the house.
Yeah, now are you thinking about this? It all is adding up. The wood must be coming from the same place. What if the wood grew in this house? No, that's a silly. Is there anything else that you would like to think about, discuss, or check before carrying
No,
on?
let's check the room we haven't checked yet.
The one you saw in the very beginning?
Yes, the
Okay.
one we haven't checked yet, which
So-
is towards the chat.
Okay, so you go back there, fulfilling the whole circle you've made,
Yeah.
and you find yourself in a big room. And in the side of this room, you see very small, sort of wooden doors. Some of them at the very height at the bottom, and some of them at chest height.
All right. I open one of the doors when I'm standing to
Alright.
the side.
As first of all, you actually notice that the doors have signs on them and something
Oh.
written. Each of them something different.
In what language?
In common.
Okay.
All of you can read and understand it. They all have something different standing on them. The first door you see has on it written, actually nothing. This one is empty. Well, all the others have something written on them. The second one has written on it, Gustav Durst. Then there's one Elizabeth Durst. Then there's one Thornbolt Durst. Then there's a Rosa Walder Durst. And a Walter Durst.
Ah. No mind. It's Graves.
Rosavalde and what was the other?
Rosa Walder and Thornbolt.
Well, now we know where they got the name.
Wait.
It sounds exactly Graves, considering the kid skeletons are still
Well,
on the top floor.
true. I'm gonna open the Rosa Walder Durst.
You open the Rosa Walder door, and in it you find a wooden surface with a handle on it.
I pull it out.
As you pull on it, out comes what looks like a coffin.
Is it a closed coffin?
It is a closed coffin.
Is it nailed shut?
No.
Oh,
Slowly open.
As everyone's still here?
most
Yes.
of you.
As you open the coffin, a puff of dust flies towards you. But other than that, the coffin seems to be completely empty.
Ah,
So Baum would also be very close to reconsidering these Durst doors. And
Same Septimus.
okay.
After
Closing the coffin,
seeing the-
pushing it in,
yeah,
closing the door.
after seeing the coffin of Rosavalde being empty, I would like to check the coffin. What was the woman's name?
For the mother. Well, we
Elizabeth
Yeah.
Durst. You want to check that one.
Yeah.
So, again, same procedure. Open the door, casket handle, draw out the casket handle, coffin, open the coffin.
Yeah. With a sword ready in one hand.
Okay, with a sword handy in the one hand. As you open the coffin, in it, you find a swarm of rats, suddenly very surprised that their home has been disturbed, and they swarm everywhere and attack you. They jump at you.
Oh.
Roll initiative.
Great.
Goddamn swarms.
Fucking rats.
Rats are great.
Don't happen to see the rats living in a skeleton there.
Nope, there's no skeleton, just rats. A swarm of rats. The whole coffin is filled with rats. It's not nice. Alright. Septimus. Alright. To your dismay, the rats get their first turn. And they will attempt to bite you. Sorry, how many?
How many?
A lot. Enough to fill a coffin, you'd say.
But
Pardon me? Connection seems to be breaking up a little. Cheerio, hello. Please catch yourself again, connection. Maybe it's because I opened this up. Music's off. Hello, hello, mayday, mayday. Please connect.
not yet. Not yet.
Need answer? There we are. Hello. Welcome back.
Hi.
A lot of rats. Now, they're attacking. What's your AC, Desper?
16.
It hits! Brilliant. That was exactly what I rolled. And you take a grand total of 2 piercing damage as it bites you.
Ow.
That is its turn, and it gives its turn to Desper. Desper, as you stand there and it bitten you, they are basically literally all over you right now. Not only are they all over you, they reek. Like, really, the moment you open the cover, like, they really smell badly. I need you to roll me a Constitution save.
Why Constitution of all things?
Oof. Yeah, you... It's just too much. The stench is overwhelming. You become poisoned.
Well,
It is now your turn.
I disengage, or is it withdraw in 5e?
You can disengage as an action.
Yeah, that is what I'm gonna do.
Alright.
I feel like rats are better dealt by fire.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you step away, large enough away to not be in the blast area.
Yeah, and I then give 3 turn.
Alright, Rika. There's a swarm of rats in front of you.
Does the swarm of rats count as one creature?
It does. It counts as a
Great.
swarm.
Right. Yeah, I'm just gonna firebolt it.
Alright. What's that? I roll a
It's
save
okay.
or you roll... Okay, yeah.
Yes,
That absolutely hits.
targeted.
That absolutely hits, and you deal a good amount of damage to it. But it seems they,
Nine
uh,
fire.
but it seems they are resistant to fire. Oddly enough, it is at this point that you actually notice that they don't look like regular rats, as you see one or the other skeletal rat in the swarm appear.
Oh, for God's sake!
But
How dare you, Guiding bolt, motherfucker!
but yeah, it is now Septimus's turn.
What?
Well, I mean, everyone went, so you automatically have to
Alright,
give him your
alright,
turn.
that's Septimus.
Okay.
Rats. Really nasty rats.
Rats. Well. He's gonna button, he's going to get a sword ready and slash at the rats that are closest to him.
Uh-huh. Go ahead then. That hits. Roll that damage. All right, that's quite a bit. And it is also at this point that because it is a swarm, you hit some of them, but not all of them. It seems that your melee attacks seem a bit less effective, but you seem to have actually caught quite a lot of them, as 5 or so rats lay dead to the side. And the swarm doesn't look so great. Still holding up, though. Who do you give your turn to?
I'm gonna give my turn to Saban.
Saban,
Alright.
you are still poisoned.
Yeah. What does that do?
Poison means that you have a disadvantage on your attack rolls. I don't remember all of it, so I would have to look it up. Yes, just disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks.
Alright. That case, I'm just gonna try and lock some of them off with by taking out a buckler.
All right. Anything else?
Not really. I move a bit farther away from them, so
All right, so just move into safety. Who's next?
Rika.
Alright, so basically I'm gonna cast Gun. Also called Guiding Bolt.
All right, go ahead.
Right, got it. It's just the first level spell. Ooh! Ooh!
Yeah, while it does look really impressive as you shoot your guiding bolt and it hits the wall, breaking off quite an impressive part of it, it did not hit.
Motherfucker!
Where do you give your turn to?
I give my turn to the Swarm of Rats.
Oh, the swarm of rats. Excellent. Because the swarm of rats has been attacked by two sources, and right now they consider Septimus the biggest threat. So they will attack him. Septimus, what
Let's
is...
go, Mickey.
Septimus, what is your AC?
My ace is 17.
Sorry?
17.
While they get all on top of you and start crawling all over you, they try to bite into your armor and try to get inside, but they fail as your armor is simply too thick. That was their turn, and they give their turn to you. Now that they're all on you, I need you to roll me a Constitution save, as the smell is just overwhelming.
Okay. To roll a Constitution, do I roll the ones that are under the proficiency bonus?
A Constitution save, over your skill checks, you have saving throws. There you have Constitution.
Okay.
Click on that. No problem. While the smell is really disgusting and annoying, you tend to not mind it too much and holding partly also your breath. Well, what do you do?
What is there to do? I'm gonna kick ass and take names. I'm
All right.
slashing on them.
Excellent. Go ahead. Sadly, there's a little bit of everywhere, and as you're slowly starting to panic a little bit, and you miss them. This round's over. Who goes next, Septimus?
Rika.
Rika.
So, I'm gonna cast Smaller Gun. Called Fireball.
Bolt. Okay,
Bolt.
sorry.
Bolt.
Good.
I don't have third level spells, Daniel.
Go ahead. Yeah, I for a moment I misheard. I was like, hang on. Go ahead.
Oh, it's not a smaller gun.
Okay,
But
so
I can shoot it as many times as I
okay,
want.
16,
It doesn't
8.
do as much
Just as before, you hit them. They seem to be taking quite a lot of damage from it, but you feel like they would have taken more if you didn't cast something they have resistance to. At this point, you blasted off a good chunk of them off of Septimus, and there's only like a handful of them that remain. Who goes next?
Alright, Saban, I think you can finish this.
I have disadvantage.
You do.
True, but I believe you can do it.
Yeah. Well,
I was just gonna say it because I forgot last round. At the end of your previous round, you should have rolled a Constitution save to see if you catch
I was
yourself again. So
wondering if I
yeah,
could do
that was absolutely my fault. Just go ahead and do it. I should have informed you earlier. Yeah, no, you're fine again. You're great. You had a little bit of a whiff, but now, ooh, much better.
Well, in that case, how strong with the swarm looks like. How weak does the swarm look?
Quite weak. Yeah, you'd say like it's only a handful more of them, and they don't look good.
Yeah. So as a free action, I can drop my buckler, can't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in that case, I'm gonna basically go towards.
Charge in with both hands.
Yeah, both hands.
All right. Okay, that hits.
Oh wait, not one-handed. It's 1d10.
All right.
Fucking next.
Is it?
It should be 1d10 plus 3. No, it's 1d8 plus 3.
All right. Want to roll that d10?
Yeah.
All right. Either way, it's enough. So just as Septimus dodges, you pass through his shoulders and catch the last rats as they go to the floor. There's still a bunch of rats. They all scatter, hiding in the corners, trying to get out of your way now that their home has been intruded upon. But the threat has been dealt with. There's still a few rats that seem scared.
Well, I'm just gonna, if they stay still, I'm just gonna clean up.
You doing what then? Oh, you're killing off all the rats.
Yes, I have infinite firebolts. I can do.
All right. Well, the thing is, not all of them seem to be undead. Some seem to be just general normal rats. And as you start blasting them, they scatter all across the hallways. You manage to get a few, but most of them scatter before you can get all of them. Some of them seem to have gone and hidden back in the coffin as well.
No skeleton in it. No, nothing.
No skeleton in it. You do not find an Elizabeth Dust.
Then we're just closing it and putting it back in.
Excellent.
Before we do that, can I check to see if there's anything else
In what?
in the coffin?
In the coffin itself. The you're looking for hidden compartments or something of that kind?
Honestly, considering how much the rats reek, I don't think he'd be very inclined to tap it down and look for secret compartments.
Yeah.
But maybe something is, maybe a necklace. Maybe
You are
just
not
paper.
wrong. You're not wrong. Absolutely, there is stuff in there. Mostly rat poop.
I have found rat shit. Good for me.
Other than that, there does not appear to be anything special inside the coffin. You remain standing in the smoke.
How much noise did we make?
While fighting.
Yeah.
You'd say it was...
Still going on.
Yeah, you'd say it was a considerate amount. But chanting has neither stopped nor has it ceased at any point during this whole debacle. So either they do not mind, or, since it does sound a little bit echoey, it's also possible they're too far away to hear it.
Alright, that was the last one. Let's go towards them.
So you find yourself back at the dining room again. And you will still have two options. You can track back to the place where you were previously to go to the chanting, or you can go from here down around the corner, where there seems to be less chanting still.
Into the unknown, without the chanting.
Alright, so...
While wearing the robes.
Wow.
Alright, you're wearing the robes. Alright.
I do have this cool serpent eye patch. Is there anything on of the serpent eye patch?
What do you mean specifically?
Like, if I hold it, like, seeing into the part that goes towards the eye, is there anything in there?
Yes, as you put the eye patch on...
No, I don't put it on.
Oh, so you just look if there's anything.
Just look it.
Yes, there's leather. There's leather, and it blocks your sides.
Alright.
You think it was probably quite useful as an eye patch.
I'm gonna put it on. Fuck it.
You put it on. Good. So as you you have now an eye patch on. Congratulations. It has a little symbol of a snake on it. As you turn the corner, you see a dark-robed figure on the ground in front of you. There's another body.
By the way, to make a note, I did pick up my buckler.
All right. Yeah, I was assuming as much, to be honest. I wasn't gonna... Yeah.
Just to be sure.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It is fair enough. Anyway, so you see that body on the ground. You keep carrying on. And eventually you find yourself at a crossing where to your right, you hear the chanting again, much louder than before. To your left, you hear nothing, and well, in front of you, straight in front of you, that's where the body is lying.
So the body's having a dark cloak on it as well, or like? What?
Yes, a dark cloak. In fact, it looks it's like one of the bland ones you saw before. The only noticeable thing about it, though, is that it appears to be clothed under.
What's under the cloak? Well, robes. What's under the robes?
I mean, from this angle, it's hard to tell. You can investigate closer if you want.
I'm gonna flip the body over.
Okay. So as you approach the body stands up.
Oh.
Roll initiative.
Oh.
Hang on, I need to.
Be even surprised.
I need to put you on the map first. You really shouldn't be.
We have a map.
Yes, you have a map as well. So as I said, from this direction, loud echoing of the chanting. Nothing really from here, and this is where the body is. So, initiative.
So is that the body?
That is the body, and it stood up. And you can see now that under the cloak, it appears to be some sort of undead creature. Alright, the person who starts is Septimus. You have the first turn.
Bon?
No, you.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a +3.
Yeah, you have the higher dexterity, so you go first.
Okay. In that case, he is going to draw his sword. He's gonna draw his sword, the silver one this time,
Ah, okay.
and well, he's gonna rush over to the creature and he's just gonna slash it, you know, across the neck.
Alright,
Try to
go ahead.
decapitate
Do that. You're on the map.
it. Nyom.
Excellent. So you run past, run at it with your sword and slice it across the neck. Roll.
Please God. Please?
You hit! Go ahead and roll that damage.
Oh God, yes.
This is very low AC.
Oh yeah. Zombies don't tend to be the very dodgy types, to be honest. Ooh, that's a good amount. That is certainly a good amount. And similar to the fight before, you feel like the damage is just being less effective than on ordinary creatures. This, through being undead, it seems to have some sort of resistance to being killed in this fashion. However, it still does a good chunk of damage, you find. Who goes next?
I'm going to let Saban go next.
Alright, Saban.
Okay. I'm gonna... Can I do... charge? And does that give me...
No, charging isn't a thing in D&D 5th edition.
Oh yeah, you need a feed for that. Well, I'm gonna do a thematical charge and tell Septimus to duck as I swing sword again at the creature's neck.
Mm-hmm.
Zaldamus is gonna duck.
As you duck, a flash of a sword appears over your head and
Yeah,
is ramming right into the undead. Roll that damage. Very good. It takes more damage, and it isn't looking too hard. Who's next? Saban.
I'm gonna let the creature go next.
Oh, the creature goes next. Excellent. Well, the creature seems uncertain to decide in between the two of you, and goes for... Actually, which of you... Yeah, actually, Septimus, you dealt a lot more damage, so, well, a lot, it's 1 point, but still, you dealt more damage, so you're the bigger threat in this scenario. And it will take out its claws and swipe at you. It is at this point you realize that it has claws under its cloak. Your EC...
How many claws are they?
What kind of claws, you ask?
Uh-huh.
It's long claws, jagged. What you're currently seeing is a ghoul. What is your AC?
My AC is 17.
Alright, it hits. And it deals... hang on. It deals... Shit, hang on. 3. It deals 5 slashing damage. And I need you to roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Alright. You are not affected whatsoever. While you feel like something is trying to burn into your wounds, it does not seem to have much effect on you. And that was its turn. But it seems that they don't come alone. And suddenly another one seems to come charging out.
Oh, yeah, leave the spellcaster. And that's a great idea.
From around the corner
Would
from
you
here.
have rather wanted to do the turn yourself and just then have them do double turn?
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I now give the turn to the last person who hasn't acted yet, Rika. Although it seems to have been too far a distance away from being able to attack you, it seems to have charged forward to you, now seeing eye to eye with you. And this one looks different. This one actually has a fancy cloak. Same ones as you are wearing right now.
Fuck it. Yeah, it's getting guiding bolted.
Alright, that is an
Oh,
attack
no.
roll at disadvantage.
No, it's just gonna get shit.
You could hit it with the torch.
You could.
Damn, that's too far away.
True, I could hit it with the torch.
Do you want to
I'll
hit it with the torch?
I'll hit it with the torch.
Actually, roll me an attack roll on without proficiency, since it is an improvised weapon.
Yeah, and I guess my modifier for this would be strength.
Yes, it would be strength.
That's a 14 to
That
hit.
hits. Roll
Yeah.
1d6 plus your strength modifier.
Okay, that's one
Okay, yes. What's your strength modifier?
damage. 0.
Ral, you do 1 fire damage to the creature.
Yeah.
It does not seem happy with you, but your fire damage seems to be more. Your fire damage seems to be doing more damage than the slashing weapon would have. So that's good. Except, well, it's not. Yeah.
I should have taken the goddamn disadvantage.
Yeah. But it's not bad.
No, it's pretty bad. I only have 11 HP.
But yeah, the other creature, by the way, is looking really bad since they've messed it up quite badly at this point.
Great.
But yeah,
Are you okay with OOC tactics?
out of character tactics, I am okay with you relaying tactics in character. I do not put the rule where you can only talk for 6 seconds, so you can basically go in character. Let's do this.
Yeah, so in that case, Saban could say that, yeah, leave this one to me, Septimus go protect Rika.
Yeah, it's Septimus.
So-
Okay.
Septimus, your turn.
Either that or then leave it to Saban and try to finish off the thing. That way, Septimus wouldn't take an attack of opportunity.
That's true. Okay, so Saban gets it, trying to finish off.
Okay, Saban, your turn then.
Like, I hope that wouldn't do much.
Go ahead then. Try and finish it off.
Yeah, gonna try to slash off its hands.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
You fail. As you try and slash it with your hands, its claws spring forward and hold your weapon in a sort of chokehold as you slide forward in a clap like. Who goes next?
I'm so dead.
Not if I have something to say for it. You're not dead.
I'm so dead.
You're not.
Yeah.
And that's why you always look to your left and to your right before crossing the room.
No, this is why you don't leave the spellcaster alone.
I'll be quiet now. Saban, who goes next? You can still save this.
Septimus.
It hasn't even attacked you yet.
Yep, Septimus.
Septimus is gonna do a full 180, head back, and I know it's cowardly to stab someone in the back, but that is exactly what he's gonna do with a silver
You
sword.
will take an opportunity attack as you move back there.
I will accept it.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, I think it's missing. Your AC was what?
17.
Yes, it misses as you very well just back up and deflect one of its attacks with your sword. You are now standing behind it. You can move your token there.
Excellent.
Yes.
And
Take your swing.
I'm just gonna straight up stab it.
Go ahead. You hit. Roll that damage.
Oh. Okay.
You deal a good of damage. Your sword goes straight through its chest and you pull it out again. And while it does look affected, it does not seem to be killed by this effect. But you seem to have annoyed it quite a bit. Who goes next? Rika or Ghouls?
God damn it. This requires the one thing I'm not good at, strategy.
I think you should give it to the ghouls so they don't get 4 turns in a row.
Okay. I'm going to give it to the ghoul that I just attacked.
Alright. Alright, the ghoul that you just attacked. He is looking annoyed with this situation. And he is going to take a step into this direction and try and bite Rika.
What?
Why is he biting Rick? I stabbed him.
This ghoul seems to know what it wants. What is your
I only
AC?
hit him with a torch.
What is your AC?
Fuck. So my AC is 13.
He misses. He tries to go in with a
What?
bite and uses sort of like put the torch right into its mouth and it snaps part of it in half as you get away from it and it misses you. And it gives it its turn to the other one, who decides that it should probably go help its other guy and actually follows Septimus and attacks you with its claws.
Okay.
And it misses once again, swiping at you. You saw it coming, you dodged to the wall and hug it as you see it
Fantastic.
soar past you. Rika, it is your turn.
All right. Just a sec. All right. So, fuck this cunt. Oh! Oh! Oh!
Oh my god. Yes!
You
The red one. The red one.
Yes. So you raise your torch and you just swoop it. Actually, as it was attacking you, you literally put the fire and up into its mouth and go upwards.
Daniel, it snapped my torch in half, so I just kind of fireball.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry,
It's
I
a
didn't see that. I
fireball.
thought.
It's not
Okay,
torch.
sorry, I misread that. Okay, in that case, just go. Okay, whatever. And its head blows clean off as the creature sinks to the ground, defeated. Yeah, I have nothing. Yeah, that's what happened. You decide whose next turn it is.
Yeah, so.
It is at this point that you realize that yes, elemental magic seems to be a lot more effective against these creatures than weapon attacks.
Do another full 180.
What does that mean?
Well, Septimus should turn around and hit the.
Ah, okay, right. Septimus.
Okay, I'm gonna do another full 180.
It is quite weak and is not looking good.
I'm gonna stab it in the face with a silver sword. I'm
Alright.
done being polite to
Go
these
ahead.
things.
Roll that damage. You turn around and you slash your sword right, pierce it into its head and pin it to the wall. And for a moment it just goes. And you take your sword out and the body flops to the floor. You have taken out the ghouls.
Yeah.
Alright, and I believe this is a good point for a break.